Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a storm system that will be taking its shape across southern Canada and the United States and its impacts that we'll be bringing. I'll be kind of going over in today's video. I do apologize, I haven't been making really much videos. I've been really busy school. It's very busy season right now, and there really hasn't been anything spectacular to talk about. There's the heat. It's been pretty warm. There haven't been any big systems. Individual, areas probably got impacted by some, obviously, unusual events, but I usually look for big area events that I could talk about because I'm not going to talk about something that affects one state, as I have a pretty large spanning viewer base and audience base, so that's probably not going to be something I'm going to do. So therefore, I just kind of waited, and I obviously looked at the weather every day, and finally we have something that's affecting a bigger area, and we'll be bringing quite a bit of weather impacts. So let's start talking about that right now. So notice that as I push this into this upcoming week, we do see Tuesday and Wednesday. So today's Monday, I'm recording this video. We have a system that's pushing out of the northeast, and you can see that is delivering quite a bit of rain across the northeast. That's good. They need it. They're in a drought, especially the coastal areas, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and whatnot. So what we're kind of focusing on is this area right here across southern Canada. It's an area of broad circulation, nothing really too intense. But as I push this towards Tuesday and into Wednesday, you can see this quickly intensifies, and it's a pretty, actually, very large system. It's not centered across the United States, it's centered across southern Canada, but its cold front swings into the United States, bringing quite a bit of showers and activity. It combines with another system that kind of moves a lot of moisture onto the west, and it kind of develop a weak cold front, quite a bit of chill air behind it. So if you're dealing with very warm temperatures right now, that will be kind of getting shut down by this cold front that this system brings. Even some scattered snow showers at this point you can see across Ontario or Quebec. It's not completely unusual to start seeing that at this time of the year. It is already mid to late September. And do note that we have this very strong hurricane, that would be Hurricane Fiona, and this cold front actually kind of saves the United States from this hurricane. Notice it was already starting to go on a trajectory that was more avoiding the coast, but this cold front kind of speeds out its, exit, and it could have hit in Newfoundland, Labrador, Nova Scotia, but instead it just kind of completely misses those areas. Still could bring some pretty strong winds, maybe some scattered showers, but yeah, that's not going to be really a threat for the United States. Bermuda, though, could get a pretty nasty hit from that, so that is something to watch if you live across those areas, which I don't know if I have even a single viewer that lives there. But do notice that after that we do have a high pressure that takes charge. Initially it brings in, again, pretty chilly air, especially for New England and the Northeast, you can see, but it does affect the Midwest as well. So that's going to be pretty nice, but that doesn't stay for long. And notice that we have warm air that moves back in pretty quickly, and that's because this high pressure that remains in charge kind of directs the winds in a fashion that start blowing from the south and west, and that brings in a lot more heat. And you can see that right there we have another system that sneaks through. But look, as I put this into the future, we have a high pressure that kind of settles right there across the south central United States, and it stays there for quite a while. You can see the winds, isobars are angled, slanted, high pressure spinning clockwise, so it's bringing winds from the south. We have a series of low pressures from the north and another high pressure coming in from the north, which also kind of create these alleyways of very, very warm temperatures. And then we potentially have some sort of a hurricane tropical storm, whatnot, across the southeast, so we're obviously going to have to watch for that. That's still pretty far out, but there has been some consistency among the models and, amongst the models and the models just themselves. So, but yes, for now, we're going to be watching this system. Again, you can see a pretty nasty cold front moves through. It doesn't really affect the U.S. too significantly in terms of weather impacts. There will be some showers, some rain, nothing really of severe noteworthiness. Maybe across the Northeast, a few obviously storms that could be strong. But really, probably the most thing that most people realize is just kind of the blast of cool air that this will bring. Though, again, that also won't be long-lasting. I mean, it's been very warm. Let's go back to the till Friday. This past Friday, you can see it was warm. It was really warm yesterday, and it will be warm tomorrow as well. You can see this very strong area of heat out ahead of the system. Behind it, we see a pretty nice cool blast of air, so that's going to be cool and nice. no pun intended, but then the heat comes back, and you could see that while the cold air may hang around for some areas for a little bit, it becomes more dominant of a heat pattern as opposed to the cool pattern. And again, I said that already months ago. This fall is going to be a warm one, and so far, thus far, that's really what these forecasts seem to be holding on to. There will be pockets of areas, that are maybe cooler, but as in all, it's going to be a rather warmer. Warmer fall, I think, for the majority of the United States, if not just pretty hot. Again, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that the winter will be warm or hot, and I actually explained in several videos why I think a warm fall could end up leading to a snowy kind of late fall, meaning late November and early December. European model regarding this this large system is pretty much the same. It shows a very strong system developing pretty quickly, again traversing across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and then once it gets into Ontario, it starts developing into a pretty strong system. A lot of warm air here, so these storms could flare up into some pretty nasty ones across the Northeast. But again, I guess the more remarkable thing will be the cool air that it brings, and sweeping that hurricane or whatever, hurricane at that point off the coast, or I guess off our viewing area, so it limits the threat of that bringing any meaningful impacts. And if I play this again, you can see there's going to be a lot of moisture across the south and west the next few days. At Four Corners, Utah, Colorado, they could also be seeing quite a bit of rain. And that's also a pretty good thing. But notice the high pressure stays in charge, so a lot of this warm air just kind of streams back in, and we do see these occasional systems that are pretty strong and powerful move through. So we'll have to obviously watch for those, as those could be. I was talking about in particular the one potentially a week out, which again is far out, but that's a bit more to the south, so its impacts could be a bit more substantial, and it does also bring in some more fall-like air. You can see the temperature anomalies turn towards the blue right there, so below average. So that's the main models I wanted to show you. Now let me show you the Canadian. It's also a decent model. I don't like it as much, but it also does show that the strong storm system. There it is. You can see developing that cold front, sweeping that hurricane off the coast, or just its impacts completely off the coast. Though the Canadian does take it pretty close to the Canadian provinces there. And then notice, just like the European, the Canadian does show that storm system out pretty far out. It does show a pretty nasty storm. That one definitely would be something to talk about more than this one. And again, cold air behind it as well. And what I've been noticing in some of the model runs from the past few days, like yesterday, I do believe the GFS. I don't know if it was yesterday, but it was. I was looking at some, and the further and further we get out, we start seeing more and more storm systems coming in from the north, bringing rain, snow to the north and west. Again, a lot more blue colors coming up, and that's just natural. I mean, it's part of fall. You can see some pretty big systems spinning up here. They're inconsistent about that, so we'll have to see whether or not that maintains itself. But an active northwest pattern there across southwestern Canada or northwestern United States, depending on which country you look at, would obviously bring in a lot of moisture to the United States, and what that could do is combined with the warm air that is still across the south, that could create some, again, pretty large system, as you see there, as it traverses, maybe even some early snowstorms. I mean, I do believe there was times where early October there was large cities like Denver that have seen snow before, so no real threat of that right now, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. And again, as I mentioned, I still believe that overall it will be a very warm fall, generally speaking. And looking at the ensembles, they're pretty much in line with that. The further you go out, the warmth kind of just stays. Again, it will vary in intensity for regions, and there will be probably brief cool downs in between. But for now, it seems the warm pattern will be the more dominant one. Here you can see I'm speeding through almost 400 hours out, right? And there are a bit more cool air masses here and there, and that probably will continue to be the case, but predominantly a warm pattern. And I do believe every once in a while these models go out very far out. I think every midnight model run, 00Z, they go out to 800 models or 800 hours out. Again, at that point it becomes more speculative, but let's just see if they trend towards maybe a weaker anomaly. So let's run it through. Load it. You can see 400. I mean, this is mid-October at this point. It looks like the warmth probably stays, though. You can see there's some nice hints of blue across southeastern Canada and northern United States towards very long range. But again, I'm just kind of showing this to you for no real reason. I'm just trying to see myself if there's any pattern. And clearly, the warmth is going to be dominating. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad thing for weather lovers or winter lovers, as there could be some pretty nasty storms that could take advantage of that, and it doesn't have to be too cold, too terribly cold, in order to produce snow across certain areas, like the northern plains, and we could see an early snowstorm because of this. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And yeah, that's basically all I wanted to show you. Just kind of give you a brief rundown of the weather. Again, we have that a big cold front that will be moving through this country kind of midweek. Again, you probably won't even notice that it's that significant until, I guess, the cool air hits you. Because a lot of these areas, if you go to take a look at the GFS and take a look at the 2-meter temperature shaded, so what the actual thermometer reads, right, it's been pretty warm across the same areas that could be dealing with frost after this system moves through. So notice, all right, I mean 80s all the way into Ohio there. Let's go back a few there. Right there, you can see 70s, 80s. It's been kind of consistently warm like that through most of the areas. And notice that once that system moves through, especially during the nighttime hours, I mean, upper 30s, lower 40s, even just some frost across Canada, the big cities. That's definitely going to feel fall-like compared to what it was. But again, as I said, that probably won't last for long. You can see the warm temperatures moving back in for a good part of the country. And that could be bringing, again, quite a bit of heat and warmth with that, but you can see the occasional cool downs do come through, and each one of them kind of brings cooler and cooler air gradually. You can see some pretty low temperatures out there, but nonetheless the heat probably gonna be a factor that remains with us for a while. So that's basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.